What is up, everybody? This is Gerry, Toffee Blues USA, coming to you from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in the United States of America, which is an interesting place these days. Joining me it's the first time me meeting him, but he's appeared on Toffee Blues before. We have Sachin from Minneapolis, Minnesota of Falcon Blues fame. Sachin, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Gerry. Thanks for having me on Toffee Blues and all other blues out there that may have come across this. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so if you recognize Sachin, number one, you probably recognize him from Falcon Blues. He's their American correspondent. You know, he does a lot of work on there, but also he did an Everton and Me video for us in which he talked about how he came to be an Evertonian, how he became Sachin the Blue, which is really cool. And I have watched it, and you should too. It's a really cool story. If you're having trouble finding it, I would recommend go to Sachin's Twitter, and it's pinned. It's his pinned tweet. So you should check that out.
Tweet. Yeah. You may not like everything else after that first tweet, but that first tweet will be good. I promise you.
It's a really relatable story, and for a lot of the folks out there who are, because not all of our viewers are in America. We have a lot of people in other countries, England, watching. But for perspective, as an American Evertonian, that process of like picking a club and like testing a club and figuring out, does this fit right? And a lot of times you narrow it down. You had the same two choices I did, by the way, Sachin. Both of us were like down to Spurs and Everton. Yeah. And what's funny is that is a common choice in America, I'm noticing.
It really is. Because, I mean, and that's why we usually get along well with Spurs fans, It's because it's more than just about winning, to be blunt, to be completely blunt with you. Even though we do win more than them, I have to say. But no, it is. Yeah, it is a relatable story, as you said.
Yeah, immediately I was just like, I've been through that, man. Yes, I know that trip, that journey, that learning journey. And you're right. For a lot of people, that World Cup that year was big. Yeah. That was a big World Cup when you're trying to figure things out, where your allegiances lie. That was
every match was like on ESPN. I remember like super excited. It was before all the streaming and pay to watch services. So I remember I could watch like anything I want, any match I was free for, I could watch essentially. So I thought that's a big thing, which the Premier League just scrapped their pay-per-view, so that's a win for consumers. So.
That is a big one right there.
Off topic, but kind of on topic.
It's okay. It's the world, and there's nothing else going on in the world today, especially in the USA right now. Nothing happening at all outside this.
Man United losing yesterday, and then they're playing on Sunday. That's all I'm focused on. No,
I have a United guy at work that I work with, and he comes by and like complains about his team. And after the most recent one, he was just shaking his head. And I'm like, you can't even pronounce that Turkish team, can you? And I'm like, I can. I've seen him play before. But I was like, that's what you get,
Demba. I just love the team made up of PL rejects. Striking again on a Thursday
Demba showing up and just, making that famous run from midfield in. No. Yeah, love when he does that.
Yeah, we've lost any Liverpool fans that we're tuning in right there.
They only come to leave mean comments, and we thank them because it gives us views, man. It gives us
that's
views.
The way I look at it too. That's the way I look at it too. So
let's talk a little bit more about you, because and just so everybody knows, I normally do talk about how people become a Blue, but you've got that video you can totally go to kind of get to know Sachin a little bit more. So we're going to jump into some other questions, actually. Just talking Everton a little bit. Actually, first, let's talk about what's your local supporters group. Do you actively participate in that, or are you one of those folks who's like, I'm kind of a homebody when I watch, that kind of thing? Where do you prefer to watch the match, other than being over in England?
It's funny. It's the middle, because I have gone and I do go. I'll say, because I'll go back to Minneapolis Toffees or Minnesota Toffees But last year with my living situation, I wasn't able to take public transport to the bar. Then they switched it this year. And in the meantime, I got some friends that started watching the match and will get up early. So they bought the kit. And so I kind of, well, if they want to watch it, I'm more than willing to watch it and suffer my Saturday morning with them. So I kind of don't go there anymore, but I love the six. I guess for you 7:30, the 12:30 kickoff for the British
Yeah.
time, for to keep it simple. That's one of my favorite kickoffs because I get up at 5:30 or 5:28 just so I'm ready for the team news. On Twitter,
Yeah.
brushing my teeth. It's ready, and then I go. No one's out. And you have that adrenaline. It's
Yeah.
just like, and there's nothing better that wakes me up. So I actually love those. It's like Chelsea, the win versus Chelsea at home with Big
Yeah.
Dunk. That was a 6:30 or 12:30 p.m. kickoff. So it's kind of no, I'm not a homebody, but I don't go to Minnesota Toffees, but I will in the future.
So just so everybody knows, though, Minnesota Toffees is the Minneapolis area supporters group. Is that what that is?
Yes. Yeah. Minneapolis, St. Paul. I don't think you'd find an Everton fan outside of Minneapolis or St. Paul. It's tough to find them inside of Minneapolis or St. Paul as it is. So I don't think you'd be hard pressed, to be honest.
So very cool. We always talk about your local supporters group just to kind of give them a shout out, that kind of thing. It's cool you've been, which is rad. What's your? Let's think about as long as you've been watching Everton. What has been your favorite Everton match? Have you talked about that?
I have in a Falcon Blues team one, but I honestly think I probably changed my choice to the Chelsea because of what has happened in the last 12 months. I will say that Chelsea win with Big Dunk and Carlo, and now where we are, like that, I picked that singular moment as a potential turning point for this club for the 21st century. So I want to say that's my favorite match, and like what it meant to everybody in that stadium. So
that was my match of the season last year.
Yeah,
that was
because you just rewatch, I rewatch it, and I did rewatch it, and just oh my goodness, just goosebumps. And it was, but other than that, it was the Arsenal 3-0 defeat, Lukaku's and Martinez's first season. Where we absolutely just destroyed them.
Is that when we put him like more like on the right instead of playing?
Yeah, that was a right wing with Naismith up top, and he just cut inside on Monreal, I think, the whole match, and just had no answer.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but I think the Big Dunk Chelsea match takes over the top spot for me now.
That's a nice one. Who's your current favorite Everton player?
Richarlison. It's
I'm sure that's a nice pick.
I mean, not even a question. I mean, it's him top three because there's so many to love. It's Richie, Dom, Holgate. Those are my top three. Just because I love Dom and Mason when they came in, and everyone. I remember because I was more active on Reddit back then. Now I'm more active on Twitter because just Reddit's bigger, and I just don't feel the need to comment there. Yeah. But back then, there was a lot of abuse towards them for the people who I'm sure that people who watch this will know. There's people hating on, and Davies included. Yeah. And you see Dom and Mason where they're at now, and it's just you can't help but they're the utmost best people. Like those two, Marcus Rashford, you can just tell they're good people, quality people, and like Richie too. And you can tell Richie does so much for the community, and they get the club. Like Richie funded the math league team to go to Japan last year. Yeah. He's spoken in front of the Brazilian Congress, like he never forgets, like you cannot, the only people who hate Richie are Copites. Literally the only people, and maybe Watford fans, which is a different story. But
right.
I know every blue loves Richie, and he's number one in my heart, but have to give a shout out to my two other boys.
Yeah, my kids, I put that Oasis song on often, and my kids sing the words to the Richarlison song, and except they have to change the bad language.
Well, did you see what he just reposted on Instagram? I think it was today. It was a little maybe like a 6-year-old who sing the song and he says it, and his mom's like, "That's a bad word." He goes, "Come on, mom, just say it. Just say it's the cutest." And Richarlison, I'd seen it probably a month ago on Twitter, but he just reposted it today.
I've got to find that.
Yeah, go to his Instagram account. I'm sure it's on Twitter too, but Instagram for sure.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, we're big we're Charleston folks here in North Carolina. My
Good.
family's
Love
gotta
it.
love that guy. So making it more personal, if you were an Everton player, who is the Everton player, can be from the past, can be now, who is Sachin the most like you? You know what I mean? Who's the Sachin doppelganger, personality wise, looking wise, doesn't matter. Who are you as an Everton player?
The most like me? Well, the
It's
player
a
I
weird
want to
question.
be
I
is
started
Ghana.
asking
No,
people.
the player I want to be is Ghana because I always want to be a defensive mid, but I don't have. I'm not anywhere near that. But a center back, so that's a tough one. Let's think. Maybe Unsworth. Maybe maybe
Yeah?
throwback, way far back. When don't get nearly as many goals as him, but kind of do what's needed. More recently, maybe Julian Lescott when he was good.
Nice. Interesting
Maybe,
choice.
maybe
Yeah.
because I'll
Yeah.
yell at people and then I'll make a mistake and they'll yell at me. So, so it's Ashley Williams, but I don't want to say that because Ashley Williams is up there in a blue shirt. So that was like my
Yeah.
mind was instantly. I was like, oh, Ashley Williams is a good center back, just not for us. So just had a mare, but no, I'd say probably one of those three. I
Okay.
want to be Ghana. I love
Yeah.
Ghana. Just what he does in midfield, the engine he
Yeah.
provided is always. I love the people that break up the play, the ones who do the dirty work,
Me
and
too.
I want to be because I love stopping. I try to play striker. I realize stopping a goal is way more satisfying for me, and making a tackle where you just push the attacker over and they're
Yeah.
bad, but you're like, well, the ball's with me, so what are you gonna do? I was like God because God was so industrious what he did. He make it look so
Yeah.
easy, and now we have Allen who also makes it look very easy. So that's
Okay.
what I'd want to be,
I got you. I
but I'm
totally am
not.
with you on that.
I'm
No,
not.
because I would want to be Leighton Baines. I'm nowhere near cool enough. I was like, I'm not hip enough to be that guy. I'd have to be someone else, you know?
You gotta get the camera out too.
Yeah.
Photography is pretty good as
I was
well.
like, I don't know
So
enough about music. Well, I mean, to be honest, like I do video marketing, but I'm more of a
so
director rather than a cinematographer. So it's like,
you
I don't
still
know if I
probably know
can,
a thing or two. So
yeah, but
you
I'm
can
no,
moonlight as
Leighton Baines
one.
is too cool. I got to figure out who's dorky enough to be me. Takes a little work. But
Oh,
here's
that's
a
funny.
question. If Kirby Puckett would it be Ghana or would it be Alan? Which one?
And the Kirby Puckett, who
I only mention this because I know you're
Kirby Puckett
Minnesota
would be Mikel Arteta, who could do it all. Get a goal, class all around. He
because I
runs
remember
the
watching
show.
Minnesota win the World Series and Kirby Puckett. I was like, my gosh,
Yeah,
that guy is like Mr. Crazy hustle player, and he can do it all. You were right.
do it all. I'd say Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta. Always,
Nice.
so just always there when you needed them, kind of deal.
So, do you follow any local teams? Like any local? It doesn't have to be
So
soccer. It could, I wasn't sure if you're a Loons guy or if
I
you're a
used to be a
basketball
Loons
fan or
guy.
what.
I
Yeah.
am a basketball fan, but I used to be a Loons guy. I used to go to a bunch of the matches when they were in Blaine, which is about a 20, 30-minute drive north of
Mm-hmm.
the cities when they're in the second division. Um, and I went to a few matches. I went to actually quite a bit of matches the first 2 years when they were in MLS they played at the University Stadium when their stadium was being
Mm-hmm.
built.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like you hear Goodison and you're on Twitter, so you hear all the shouts that I basically, and I just want to say there have been multiple times at United matches where I don't swear. I'm just because they're kids or whatever. But I'll
Yeah.
make my mind known. I'll yell at the ref. I'll yell at whomever. And then I've gotten told to stop talking. And I'm not being overly excessive in my opinion. But my response is, if you don't want to hear that, watch on the match. And because I mean, the fans are who make the game. Like if Goodison didn't turn into the bear pit where we turn on our players after 3 matches, like it makes me mad, but it is what it is. It's like these people want a library like Anfield. So I kind of got turned off by that.
Mm-hmm.
And I started following this it's like a semi-pro team called Minneapolis City SC.
Oh
And
wow.
they're a semi-pro team, I'd say, like the lowest not semi-pro, lowest level of professional, kind of like a fifth division, I would
I
say,
wasn't
in
sure if it was
England.
like USL 2 or
It's like I
USL.
think one step below USL 2. So it's
Really? Okay.
so like
Wow.
I think one or so it's kind of they're pro, but it's like D3 college players, you
Hmm.
know. So,
Yeah,
but like it's fun. It's fun to watch that, and it's like, and I do think that my best like seeing those players and what like I it's just enjoying seeing it's like
yeah,
grassroots football. It's like the non-league stuff you see in England where they're equally likely to misplace an easy 5 yard pass as it is to them score a 25-yard curler. Like I've seen the stuff I saw in the second division when they were United. I cannot believe like the parity,
yeah.
disparity, I should say, between some of the class and not class. So
Yeah, it's crazy. Like even like the USL2, we have a local USL2 team here that we go and watch a lot because a lot of Wake Forest players play for them,
yeah,
and we big Wake Forest soccer
didn't Jack
fans.
Harrison go to Wake Forest?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say Jack Harrison's flying for Leeds.
it's
Crazy
crazy.
story.
What
I
in the
was gonna
world is happening? It's crazy.
say,
Wake Forest got a player in the Premier League. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah, crazy
But
that.
they're actually you have a way. Oh no, now I can't say you anymore because you said you're not a Loon Scout anymore. But I know they have at least one former Wake player playing for them right now.
I'm trying to think who would it
Uh,
be.
you traded for him.
Oh, I would know
Came
him.
came from Sporting Kansas City. He's like one of the best center backs in the league.
Oh, Iko Para.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, easy money. When you said center back, he is
yeah,
good. I will say I've seen him play. He is very, very good.
yeah.
He's
He's
very
solid.
good. But
Um, very cool though, because I like that. But yeah, I was getting around to the fact that yeah, you'll see a brilliant play, and then you'll see just a very kind of a silly missed pass here or there,
yeah,
and that's one of the things that I noticed is some of these players are building their consistency. You know what I mean? And I mean, they're still
yeah,
growing. Some of them are like 19 years old, and some of them are actually younger than that because they've come straight from a club, and they've been
yeah.
promoted up to that. You know what
Well,
I mean?
I want to say I saw Alfonso Davies in 2017 when he was 16 play, and I could not believe that he was 16 because he was physically built, the fastest player on the pitch, the most technically able player on the pitch, and I will like I've seen Rooney. I think it's a bunch of Van Dyke. I would think Alfonso Davies is the rawest player I have ever seen. What he was doing, great. It was MLS stuff, but you look
Uh-huh.
at his goals. It was Farmers League for him. It was literally. So I would say that was something when you talk about the MLS and
Yes.
quality.
Oh, geez. I want to say you saw him live too. Just because I want to say, oh, I know somebody who saw it. We watched. There's a really good YouTube channel. I think it's is it DK Kickoff? Anyway, it's a really good YouTube channel that has like all these compilations, and there's a really cool mini doc on Alfonso Davies that it shows his journey, and it's so good.
I'll have to check
I
it out. I know about his journey a little bit because
Yeah.
Bundesliga puts out good content and they put out,
Hmm.
they put out good stories about Pulisic. They're good at marketing. So
Yes, they
I've
are.
seen some stuff about Davey, a lot of stuff actually now in the last
I
year.
wish there were a lot more like mini docs, like doing profiles on players that you could
I
learn
know
about them, and connect
the
with them and
PL
root for
doesn't
them a
really
little
do
bit.
that well at all. Has no
Yeah.
YouTube presence other than NBC Sports, which just posts highlights in Liverpool and Villa highlights or docs. Like literally, like literally the weirdest mini stories with our or not Arlo White. Who's the guy?
Oh, it's
Roger.
Raj.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every club but Everton gets featured with it for the last like 5 years. Can't believe it.
I think I would hope he's trying to like fight the bias really hard, but to be like, hey, I'm not biased. I'm picking actual stories. But at the same time with Raj, you never know with Raj. You
Yeah,
really
you don't know.
never know.
You don't
Yeah,
know.
that's what I'll say. So rounding out our conversation about Sachin before we actually go on to Everton stuff. Um, what's your area of expertise, and do you have advice for me?
So my area of expertise, I'm a third year dental student.
That's what tooth mechanic means, ladies
Yeah,
and
that's
gentlemen.
what tooth mechanic
I
means.
wrote
Yeah.
it down thinking that was what it would be, but I
Yeah.
wanted to double check it wasn't some crazy new way of designing.
No, no, no. It's as simple as it appears. Yeah. So I guess my advice would be to floss your teeth and brush twice a day because that goes
I
a very long way.
I legit floss every day, and
I'm
there's
glad.
yeah, I do, and I've never known I'd have to feel the need to impress an Everton fan like that.
That's
I
funny.
swear, man. I swear.
Yeah, I can't see through the Zoom call, so you're good.
But
Uh,
no, there's a really famous Mitch Hedberg quote, who was like one of my favorite comedians of all time, he's dead now, but he was talking about quitting smoking. He said a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to quit smoking. He's like, it is just as hard to quit smoking as it is to start flossing. And I'm like, that is a solid analogy, man.
accurate, yeah, I was gonna say a pretty accurate quote,
Yeah,
honestly.
building a habit is not easy. So anyway, that is our intro to Sachin, getting to know Sachin. So yay, there we go.
Yeah.
Normally we would have applause from the studio audience. These guys back here, they're all clapping. All right. Thank you very much for being here. We are going to roll into Newcastle really quick. Before we do that, this is an unplanned thing that I have to say. It's sort of a weird like announcement thing, but it's just kind of cool. We've had on our show a couple times Tony from Chicago, EFC Fans Forum. He's a representative on there, right? And basically he told me after he's come on, he's a super nice guy. He told me one day randomly, he's like, "Hey, keep your eye on the mail." And I'm like, what does that mean? I was like, the mail, the email? What do you mean, the mail? And he asked for my address. And just yesterday, I got a package from Chicago, and came with a letter that Tony had written to me. Basically, a very kind letter, along with a copy of Here We Go. All right? Which, Everton in the 1980s, the players' stories. I've seen this book. I've never read it. And Tony gave it to me as a gift, basically helping me get to know the club's history. And
That's
I'm a
brilliant.
reader. I'm an avid reader. And the fact I've been just dying for an Everton book to read. And so I'm really excited. And it actually there's an autograph in there. Autograph in there. He says, even if you read this, the bonus of this copy is it's signed by Kevin Ratcliffe. There you go.
Nice.
Which it's really my kid was holding this book, my 8-year-old, and when I was reading the letter out loud, he goes, "Dad, oh my gosh, I'm like this," and he did a little fake faint because my whole family is like batshit crazy for Everton. So very strong chance. Hopefully, all this is appropriate. That my kids will be reading this soon too. Very cool. I just want to say. Thank you to Tony on the air. Hope to have you back soon. I just had to say that because this means a lot. This is so Everton community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
Really
exactly. This is just a little microcosm. If I could sit there and say this is what Everton community is like, that right there. Somebody going out of their way. They don't have to do that. He did not have to do that, and I'm just thankful. And I just want to say thank you. And I feel just lucky to be an Everton supporter right now. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
it really is a great family. Really is.
So that was totally unplanned. It came in the mail. And so I was like, I gotta say something. So yeah, anyway, I haven't even told Tony that I've gotten it yet. So I should probably send him a message. So anyway, we are going to move on now. Nice throw, Gerry. Thank you, Gerry. All right. So this weekend, crap happened. Yes, Everton played Newcastle, and if you've been under a rock, it's late in the week, So I'm not going to worry about a spoiler alert. I'm just going to say we lost, and it was shitty. Just saying. 2-1. It was not fun, and I had to watch it afterwards. So I already knew I was going to be watching.
Oh no, that's the worst. I've been there, done that. You suffered through it. Like, when's the goal gonna come? Oh, is it this chance? You don't see the minutes, and you're like, oh, that's brutal.
So bad. It was like watching paint dry that first half, man. It was just so uneventful.
Paint dry for the first 85 minutes. Too long, didn't read.
So anyway, we're not gonna do a straight up match review like we would normally do because it's not earlier in the week. It's not Wednesday. By the time you watch this, it's gonna be Friday. So we're gonna quickly just hit a couple of quick talking points, and I'm gonna give Sachin his choice. So here's what I've got in my grab bag of topics. Number one, the lineup and approach. There's one possibility. Number two, the penalty. Okay. Number three, no Gordon. Seriously? Number four, Gomez or Sigurdsson. What's the deal with having to make that choice right now? And number five, anything else that you can pull from your mind grapes?
Let's start with the lineup, because I think that's the big story
I feel like
of
that's
it
the
all.
biggest talking point.
I think that's why the penalty happened. That's why we
Yeah.
didn't see Gordon. I think there are a lot of question marks on that. The only positive of that lineup was Nkunku, I think, and Robin Olsen. Because I think we have a genuine competition for a number one keeper now if Pickford does poorly on Sunday or Saturday, excuse me. I do think if he makes a mistake, Olsen will be in the next match, which is good because I thought he had kept two great saves. But other than that, and Nkunku, who maybe was a little bit out of his depth, I thought the whole lineup was poor. I honestly do. I think you look at Newcastle. Everyone, I mentioned it for my Falcon Blues. Everyone knows Newcastle plays three at the back. It's not a surprise. You know their trigger players are Almiron and Saint Maximin. And I understand why Carlo wanted all those players in midfield to kind of run a double pivot in possession and maybe play between the lines, but out of possession and whatnot, it just didn't work. Well, in possession, it didn't work. And then out of possession, it definitely didn't work because we've all seen those midfielders play and we know they can't do the job. So I just think they should have I should think Carlo should have played three at the back. I think he maybe would have if Godfrey had been available, but it was just Branthwaite coming in. And then because you saw it was all on the right wing with Kenny, who had a really poor final ball. Thankfully, Coleman's coming back. And then on the left, and Nkunku they tried, but he just didn't have, and I don't blame him, he's replacing Luka Dean, just didn't have what it took. And I think with those ineffective areas, those are really where we get a lot of our creative chances from.
Yeah.
With bombing the fullbacks down and cutting inside. It showed that we didn't have a plan B, and these players were ineffective. And it was, Dom was how isolated was Dom. That's what reminiscent of last season before Ancelotti. So I think he did learn from it because Ancelotti's after the match, he said after the penalty everything changed and kind of hinted at they were going for a 0-0 to nick one off a set piece with Sigurdsson, and the size or whatnot. But obviously hindsight's 2020. I don't think that's the right approach anyways at Newcastle, considering we beat them last year there and we should be beating Newcastle every year. You ask me, I always maybe that's that arrogance kind of creeping in because it's a Premier League. That's why we watch because anything can happen.
Yeah.
But I think it's that anything can happen because he got it all wrong because of the three at the backs. We knew that, and then it culminated with Delph just throwing ball after ball in the middle with one shot thrown into Rosette, and I just couldn't believe that Delph, this leader from City, was just doing the same thing over and over again, and it was utterly frustrating, and the subs were baffling, and it was all poor, other than Olsen, I'd say, and Dom doing what he does best. Dom being isolated for that long last year, he wouldn't get that goal, but in the 90th minute, he's still clever little run, gets in between, and then a little miscommunication between them and nicks it, and we could have taken something from a game where we didn't deserve anything, which I would love to after the Newcastle when they got 2 goals in the final minute last year. But it was just really baffling from start to finish, if you ask me. And it was reminiscent of old Everton, to be honest. And I don't want to be reactionary at all because we're missing how many players? Holgate, Dean, Coleman, Richie, James, 5 players, and that's a completely different side. But like I said, you expect with all those players training and the whole quality being raised, that one of these experienced internationals, bless you.
Sorry.
No, but one of these experienced internationals making how many 100K pounds a week minimum would step up and be a match winner, because when you're second going into the match after Liverpool or going into the match, I don't know. Maybe that's the arrogance of winning early, but I expected more. Expected more, to be frank. And the penalty decision soft. Too bad, but Gomez should know better. Gomez should get a shout. Callum Wilson essentially admitted to diving It is what
Yeah,
it is. The
he
Premier
did.
League, I didn't expect anything to happen. I mean, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
and Carlo knows it is what it is. That's the better part. We have a manager that knows. He understands
Mhm.
what the league is, when we're not going to get any love from that.
Yeah.
But Gomez, I had more issue honestly with the second goal with Gomez, because that run, I think, was it I forget who it was. It was Almiron, maybe someone else. But Gomez should have cut him down, and Gareth Barry would have cut him down every single time that he wasn't on the yellow card. But the Newcastle player wriggles away, and they're in, and the
Mhm.
goal is assured at that point. And that's what frustrated me more, because he should know to cut him down. He's not on the yellow at that point. It's a take that tactical foul, and I was really disappointed with that, because you need somebody. Allen, I think 100% makes that foul because he gets it,
Mhm.
and so I was more worried with that than, I mean, the penalty is terrible, but the
Yeah.
second goal is just like, you're trying to jockey, you're beaten, take him down, take the yellow.
Yeah.
But that kind of sums it up.
So going back a little bit, and I want to come back to Gomez too. Gomes. Gomes.
I just got a
That's-
side kit too. I feel bad. I just won a competition off Twitter, and they didn't tell me the side kit was coming. It was Andre Gomez, and I need to get a frame because it's still. But it's just like, oh, it feels bad.
Oh,
I have to.
yeah.
But, hey.
So let's hit him first, just because I want to. But I want to go back to formation and purpose and all that.
Oh, yeah.
So when I was watching Andre Gomez, I see a player who seemed like he was not concentrating. He seemed like he was mentally not as present. You see so many stray passes. You saw in the first half, he and Dom are forward to try to press on the goal kick, right? And so they're forward and they're waiting for the goal kick, and the keeper motions everybody forward, says go. Dom and Gomez turn their back and start jogging, and so do the other Newcastle players, but Dom turns back around. Gomez keeps running forward with his back turned. Meanwhile, the Newcastle player has come back and they've taken a short kick behind his back. Okay?
Yeah.
That's just not mentally present. And he's a sharper player than that. Now, I realize maybe he's not normally there, but that's up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
That's
exactly.
why. And a lot of people are saying, I don't think he's back from his injury. Maybe not. And maybe his injury is why he's not sharp. Maybe he's sitting there, he's not confident, and that's
I
causing
think
him
he's
to.
definitely confident. You hear the stories about him. It's definitely in up here. I think it's
Yeah.
100% up there, and that's the worst part about it. Because
And,
you're
and
spot
it,
on. You're spot on with what he said, and I think he has the ability. I think he just needs to find himself again.
yeah, it starts with just just being able to do the little things right. I mean, how many breakaways did you see where he received the ball, look up, tried to feed somebody with a little thread the needle ball through, and it goes to the other team over and over and over again. It's little stuff like that. And I don't like piling on. I'm not a pile on kind of guy. I think Andre Gomez does a lot of, I think there's a lot more quality to him that stats don't show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In
Yeah.
the past, but right now, looking at the eye test and you look at the stats, he's not really passing either. And I really do. I like the guy. I don't like. It's just. I think there's something up here that he's got to solve, and only when this comes is he back.
I think he'll come good. If any, I mean, Carlo is known for his man management. So
Yes,
I
he
think
is.
if anybody can unlock Gomez again, it's Carlo.
Yeah.
So
I like the term unlock. That's perfect. Unlock Gomez.
I mean, well, you remember, we've all seen his quality. We know when he's there, it's one touch, 60-yard crossfield ball that's perfect.
Yeah.
Not you switch off, and it's all mental for him, I think. And so hopefully we see it back soon, his form.
Yeah, hope so. For now though, I'm not sure if I would be starting him. You know what I mean? Although it may not be good for his confidence. That's one of the reasons why you have players on the bench. That's why you want depth, is to be able to put in a player like that. To be able to, if a player's not performing, sit the bench for a little bit, dude.
Yeah, exactly. I think, I just think the injury bug has just changed it up. So, and he just wants the experience in there. I don't know what Carlo was thinking, but I'm sure
that right there.
I'm sure it'll change. I think that could be a one-off. It's on to the next match, sort of deal. I mean, a two-off, I guess, because Southampton are a good side. I always knew that was going to be a tough match and didn't expect us to get, a result. But the Newcastle one is a poor result, in my opinion. But
Yeah,
it happens.
I know I'm not the only one who, peed a little when they saw the lineup. You were like, what? Because you were like, these players don't match.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure it out. And when I started watching the match, I started kind of figuring out, okay, I kind of see where he's doing here, it's smothering them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just trying to stifle and smother, and that was really what it is. But it's not a very proactive approach when it comes to scoring. It's very like, just hold it back.
It's a very plan A. If plan A doesn't work, then it's your SOL sort of deal.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part is you okay, plan A doesn't work, then you tweak it, go with the plan B. And if that plan B involves Cenk Tosun and not Anthony Gordon, I'm going to be asking some questions, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
Honest with you. So.
But, watching, you see, on the attack, you see Delph and Decore slide back onto that back line. You see Kenny and Nkunku get forward. So, okay, well, there's a little speed on the wings, which is cool. But the problem that I have with that is it takes time for them to get forward. And who's ahead of them? Where's our speed on the wings to be, or just our speed cutting in to help Dom up top? It's just the transition takes too long.
The one striker against three center backs is just not, unless you're hitting the balls into the channel behind them and then following up, and which we didn't do. It's not going to really work, and we try to play our way in down the wings. And like you said, it takes too long. And at that point, with Newcastle's shape, it was you don't have the quality of a James or a Charleston to make something happen. And I don't want Dom dropping, outside the box, 25 yards to just make a simple pass. That defeats the whole purpose of having him in there. So, yeah, it was tough. It was tough to watch.
And chances for, I feel like we had some chances. So I don't want to sit there and say we had no attacking thrust forward at all. And I feel like defensively, the plan was sort of working if you're trying to, until they got the penalty, because they weren't getting a ton of chances. We weren't getting, it wasn't an onslaught.
Olsen did have to make a good save, though.
There was one really good save.
He made a top save before the penalty, and then one before the second. So, I mean, I do think Pickford probably makes those saves, because, I mean, they're similar, reaction. The second save, I don't know. I don't even know how he still saved that one.
Yeah.
But they did probably say I have the better chances, I would say, just because it took 90 minutes, I think, for us to kind of show our impetus. So,
yeah. I know watching the first half, I was kind of like, okay, this is a game. It did remind me of past Everton teams where it didn't seem like we were set up to win.
Yeah.
And I don't think that squad that was on the first half was set up to win. It was very let's win it in the second, maybe some attacking subs, get some energy in there. There we go.
It was the reactionary team, I would say. Kind of playing reaction, second fiddle, not going out there and dictating the tempo, per se. And that, I think that, kind of was the story of the match, off the front foot.
So I realize we haven't hit all of these, but really,
it is what it is.
This game sucked. And so let's move on. All right. Really good points there. There we go. The card is gone. And so it's
question time, right?
Let's talk mailbag. So I am going to read off our mailbag that was sent to me. Reddit. I'm just going to go ahead and say the Reddit people out there are coming through every single week. They come
Love
through.
Love to see that.
It's so cool. They come through and they give questions every single time, So first question. Okay, 9 Yoshi 5. Let's just address this. I can't give specifics here, but I think we maybe reword the question. The initial question is, who should we sign in January, if anyone at all? So I will word that question because I can't give specifics. I'm thinking, should we sign anyone at all? Let's word it like that because it's the January window that sucks. So what do you think?
I always think yes, because I think every January window there should probably be outgoings and there should be replacements for that.
Mm-hmm.
But whether it's a loan or
Loan
whether
is what
it's
I'm hoping for.
yeah, whether a permanent purchase. I mean, we hear about ISK. I think there's always attractive loans available come January if you're
Mm-hmm.
probably willing to pay the wages.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of there are every big team where we're on, because we're trying to bridge that gap, has players that don't play,
Mm-hmm.
and they're unsettled, and it's who wants to pay their wages, because the managers at that point really have an idea of, especially with Madrid. I'm talking about Isco right now. I'm kind of being
Yes, I
relevant.
know. I
Zidane
know.
knows who he wants.
I'm
So
telling you, I'm dreaming of Isco lately. I'm
yeah,
just like,
so
holy
yeah, I think
crap.
every Everton fans are dreaming of that. So that's who I'm referring to. He knows who he wants. He doesn't want Isco, so why not? I just had Davinson Sanchez.
Oh, I saw that too.
I don't know how I feel about that, because when every center back is fit, you have, because I do rate Branthwaite. I do think he's going to alone, but I do
Yeah.
think from what we've seen of him, he is going to be quite the
Mm-hmm.
deal. So I mean, you like to see him go out on loan in January potentially if everyone else is fit with Godfrey, but
But we
why
just
would
have
we spend
center
money
backs coming out
there?
of our ears, though. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
if any,
Which is awesome, by the way.
yeah,
Just
I will say if we were to spend any money anywhere, I would buy a second striker or a left winger,
mm-hmm.
a left mid, a left winger, left mid. If we had any
left winger, or
wherever,
oh yeah, that's
I mean, I don't know how he wants. I'm sure it's gonna be fluid, but I mean, James will be on the right, I assume, and give him
mm-hmm.
that free
See,
roam.
I had forgotten that's where my brain
Yeah,
farted. I was like, left? I was like,
yeah,
what? Haven't we always needed someone on the right? But
no,
you're right. Right now,
yeah. But I could see
deity.
alone be more attractive at that left mid, left wing position,
Yeah.
because we already have a rotating trio of Iwobi, Bernard, and Gordon. So I don't want to splash the cash and high wages for another Bernard or something.
Yeah.
So especially with Gordon, we all have high hopes, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully that pans out. I mean, if you were to go on loan, that's a different story. But I don't want him to see him go on loan. I want to see him play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. I mean, the squad is thin, but I don't think. I mean, it makes any sense to buy anybody if
Yeah.
we can't move Balassi, Besic, because I mean, we don't have Usmanov in yet, whose financial fair play still seems to be a thing. So it's, and Marshall, right? And with COVID, I mean, revenues are down everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And Morshiri's, I mean, 65 million on James, Godfrey, Doucouré, Allen, great business, but that's still 65 million pounds and we've had losses like every single season in the last 4 years. If you follow the Esk on Twitter, you'd come across it, you'd at least see it. So I could see everybody being a bit skint this January, because it's always, as you say, notorious. So I mean, everyone's gonna be trying to find a loan deal, and I think it's gonna be who pays the money. And I don't want us to buy anybody if it means overpaying and getting. We don't want to we shouldn't be overpaying anymore. We should be getting the Isco on loans, the James is on a free, pay the wages. That's how you get to build a Champions League perennial team, by getting smart deals and selling players for a profit. So
I think I'm going to echo your sentiments. Look at a striker of some sort, if we're able to move someone else on, potentially just on loan. Someone who's okay, not always being the starter, but somebody who's willing to work, and somebody, that would be cool.
And Ener Valencia, I think an Ener Valencia on this team would complement Dom pretty well. He complemented Lukaku pretty well, but like that could be a decent loan signing. I mean, obviously that's in the past, but I think that would be exactly who that type of player would fit a role.
And I think a player like that would definitely be eager to play, and that is. And I would say loaning a winger of some sort. I think I agree with that. Also, I want to play it by ear with how Kenny's doing as a right back. I want to play that by ear a little bit, because I'm still not sure. I'm still not sure. I love
I'm
John
not
Joe Kenny.
sold. No, I think
I'm
we need a new right back. I think.
that's the thing. Like if it's a situation where Kenny finds a good fit and we can find another Nkunku, something, another
Yeah, exactly.
really amazing. But
I don't think
yeah,
anybody expected Nkunku to be as good as he
oh my
was.
gosh,
I think Carlo must have had that smile, Oh, who
yeah,
do we have here? Because
yeah.
that guy is something else.
So
That kid.
right back potentially as well, something. But
Yeah.
again, these are potentially a lot of loans. Uh, and but in fully aware that some of these we just need somebody who will do for the rest of the
Yeah.
year. So it could be we get nothing. Just saying.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
Uh,
January though.
Another really good question from B Boulian. B Boo Leon. I don't know how to say that, but I hope that I said it right. With Moise Kean playing well with PSG, I've been waiting for a Moise Kean question, by the way. Will he be ready for the level of the Premier League, or would another loan spell be in the books for him? And then a sub comment on that is by Super Connected says another option, and most likely, is that he doesn't return to Everton at all. How are you feeling about this Moise Kean loan, and what do you think is
I
going to happen next year?
I think the sub comment is the winner. I don't I don't know if he's I have watched. I try to watch PSG now if they're playing because of him.
Yeah.
And he won a penalty and had an assist yesterday. But I just don't think League One. And I think you're playing in a PSG side with Mbappe
Mm-hmm.
and Neymar, and you would expect. I mean, the talent that he has
Mm-hmm.
to get goals and get assists. And so I don't want to be hyping him too much. I honestly don't think he's cut up for the Premier League, but I think a lot of that was based on his attitude. That
Mm.
COVID party he hosted, and then you saw him come on during the restart, and you could tell he was out of shape. And then the Duncan Ferguson incident where he was sub. I think that his first year at Everton, like everything that could go wrong kind of went wrong, sort of deal. So this and Carlo coming in, I'm sure he listened and whatever, but I think it's a good move for him, and I think that's the best thing about it because I don't think he returns with Mino Raiola because if he's happy there, why would he want to come back here? And if they wanted the player to stay, I love the no option to buy because that's a smart piece of business.
Right.
That's anyone's available to be bought, but at our term on our terms. So I don't think he comes back, and if he does, I hope he has a Dominic type development where he's top of the league in goals, but I think if he comes around we get a nice profit because we spent 30 million on him. Someone comes in with 45 million. I think you take that.
Yeah, I think his value is going up for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think playing a lot more games, getting in front of goal, finishing, getting confidence high. I'm not completely sold on the fact that he's not happy at Everton yet. I think he was not happy not playing. You know what I mean? Like that's
young players need to play for sure. I completely agree.
If he comes back and he's more confident and he's stronger, because that's the thing. He is a physical guy. He is hyper physical when he has the ball, which I love. I love the fact you can't bump him off the ball. I love that about him. But I feel like he's a little wild with his finishing sometimes. I feel like there's a certain polish that he could really, if he could be a little more refined with his ball control and finishing, which, let's be honest, Dom was not a finisher for a while. He was not, not nearly as clinical as he is now. And it took him just being in front of goal. I guarantee you've played with strikers before who would miss the most inexplicable nonsense when they first got to the team or something. And then after a while, all of a sudden, they start tucking him away and something has just clicked and you have no idea. It's like somebody took the film off the goal,
Confidence is a crazy thing in soccer.
Yeah.
Honestly,
so
the footy, it's the most important form. You don't people underestimate it if you don't play. How big of a thing mentally being a striker, the toll it takes.
Yep. This is
so I completely
true.
agree with everything you said. Let's hope positive things for Moyes playing every week.
So I could see that happening, him coming in, and let's imagine he sit there and progresses, and all of a sudden we can start him every once in a while for a Premier League game and give Dom a rest. and not everything's relying solely on Dom. What if we have a player in Moise Kean when he comes back who starts, I don't know, every third Premier League game, every 3 Premier League games he starts, or every third one, and then Dom comes in and is an impact sub later. Why not? It's a change of pace. They do different things. Something could be different, right? So who knows?
Or you play both and Richie on the left with which I know he doesn't prefer it, but he can play anywhere according to Davide Ancelotti. Yeah. So why, if Moyes is good, if Moyes comes back and is getting goals, you play both of them. You put Richie on the left and you put James on the right. That solves a big problem for us.
So, and having said all that, do I think the most likely option is that he doesn't return to Everton? Yes, I think that's the most likely option. But I just wanted to give attention to the other
Everton that. That's how you sum that up. So becomes a world beater, not for us.
Yeah. So Bowsy Toffee Tits, that is a heck of a name. Just going to say it. Says Carlo has put too much faith in Gomez, Siggy, and Iwobi. Is it time to give Gordon starting berth this weekend? And I feel like there is a Benny Cooks asks, is it time to give Tom Davies a run? Does partnering with Alan Decore relieve him of enough defensive responsibility to succeed for us? Gomez has been underwhelming, and Davies offers perhaps more energy and tidier linkage of play. So,
that's a lot.
People are asking, what about Gordon? What about Tom?
Well, I want to see Gordon play on Saturday, and with Dean, I think his chances of being back, Gordon's chances are higher of playing because Gordon doesn't. I think he gives the ball away a little too much for Carlo's liking, and he just is a little wasteful, and that's why I think game against United with Martial, Greenwood, Rashford, especially you want to stifle that counter threat, which is I think how they're going to come in and line up. So I could see him putting in a Iwobi. As much as that pains me to say, just because Iwobi does track back, and if James is fit, James will not be tracking back. And I don't really want James to be tracking back because I want him up there to spring Dom. So I think it will be Iwobi, but I certainly want to see Gordon first sub off the bench at 60 minutes. He needs to be getting 15 minutes minimum. 30 minutes. Would be ideal. And then Davies. I don't think Davies will play. I just with James back, I think it'll be Sigurdsson instead of Gomez, which I actually think will be fine. I think Sigurdsson has looked motivated this year. You actually see him running. He's not really fast, but at least you can tell he's running, which is better than the previous performances. So I'm excited to see him because I think he actually does offer us a little bit added dimension when you don't have to have him worry about tracking back and whatnot. But if it's Gomez, Siggy together with Alan and Decore, that's worrisome. Then you don't have the legs, and then you don't have the quality. Because that means James isn't there, or who's going to play on the left? Sigurdsson, that's out of position. That's a mistake. So I don't think either of the youngsters play. I think it's because Carlo likes the experienced approach. And especially against Man United, last year he chose it. I think he'll still choose it, especially without Richarlison, and we have Coleman back too, which may make a difference in his selection. But I think he goes with the experience this week, and then adjusts accordingly.
Yeah,
especially after last week. But
I could see that with Tom. I do like the idea of him having less defensive responsibility. I love that. I think he could feasibly do a job with Decore and Alan. But I think he still, when you see him go forward, when you see him become a part of the attack, I think often you see him unsuccessfully threading the needle often. He has these ambitious passes, and I love the fact that he's trying to go forward. I do love that. I just want him to be able to accomplish these,
I think the issue is it's once every 2 or 3 games, and he needs a loan. He needs a championship loan.
I would agree. I'm fully on board with that. Yeah,
because the quality, you see some of the passes he can make. The vision is there. the quality is there. It's just I think he needs to be relied on for a championship team week in and week out.
Or just
And
for
then
anyone, just be relied on, even if it's a
look at
lower league
Holgate.
for him.
Yeah, Holgate came back a different player when he was fighting, for promotion with West Brom as a defender. He came back a tough as nails leader at 23. I think Tom would certainly develop into that if he got a good loan move.
I think he just needs some sharpening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just sharpen.
Yeah.
Just get sharper. Because if he's more precise, and he is a smart kid.
Yeah.
He is. He's a smart kid. I think he has good ideas, but it's just he isn't able to accomplish them.
The consistency
Usually not able
lacking.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and with Gordon, I also want to see Gordon play because he's the second most direct that I can think of. Every time he gets the ball, immediately go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with that. It's exciting to watch.
Yeah.
But I think that Carlo likes to use him as a late game changer if need be, him or Bernard, depending on where they want them to play. But I definitely think we need more Gordon and more Davies, because I think Davies has looked pretty decent. And if you're going to put Delph out there, put Davies. That's the way I see it. I can't stand Delph.
I don't have the Delph hate as much. I think there's some carryover from last year. I do think he's performed. I feel like he's performed a little better this season than he did last. Or he didn't even. I mean, he was hurt so much last year. It was hard to take him as seriously. But I don't hate on Delph as much. I feel like there's some things he does well, but it's just his play tends to coincide with when we're playing poorly, and that is an interesting coincidence. I will say that.
That's a good way to end that conversation. I agree.
Let me be fair to your point and to Delph. So
succinct summary.
All right, so that's the mailbag. That's it. I don't think there's any other questions for that because I combined that last one. Yeah, cool.
Perfect.
That's an awful throw. Got to call a bad performance when I see it. There we go. That's better. All right. Now then, we got a match coming up this Saturday. Manchester United. We'll do a preview now. Can I just say I'm gonna have to record it again. I thought
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I saw my kid's schedule where he's scheduled to have a game midday, and I was like, perfect, right? And then after I found out I'm going to be able to watch the game live, our match live, Everton live, they schedule my kid an additional 8:30 game, which would be an hour after start time on Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah, I'm going to have to be leaving.
You can catch the first half.
I'm going to have to leave my house. No, the field is like 30 to 45 minutes away.
No.
Yeah.
Get there, leave at 7 a.m. Tell him he's got an extra hour, keep you up to practice.
and I can't even pull watching, listening to the game while I'm watching my kid's game because I'm one of the coaches.
Oh.
So yeah.
That is tough.
Yeah, it's just
gotta
the way
stay
it
on
is.
Social media the whole day.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm gonna get the updates. The Toffee Blues message group. Oh my gosh. I find out everything from that, every detail. If someone gives someone a mean look, I will find that out ahead of time. So it's like, I'm going to know it. So it is good to go into a recorded game knowing where we shit. It is good just to kind of be prepped for the doom.
Mentally prepared. Yeah.
So,
you get your beverage of choice. You're like, well, I'm here for the next, are you going to skip halftime too? I do like that part. You skip halftime, so it's actually only 90 minutes, Like, all right, I know exactly where I'm going to be. Oh, that's funny.
At least I don't have to, I know it's going to be bad, so I'm not going to hear this commentary.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear Tim Howard bashing us and Rebecca Lowe and the Robbies.
One of the Robbies, just going to say one of the Robbies.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a win, though.
Yeah. So United right now are going through a weird patch. It's a weird time for them. The current form, they're 15th in the Premier League with a 2-1-3 record. Their previous 3 results, they recently lost 2-1 to Istanbul Başakşehir. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's pretty good.
yeah, it was not bad for me considering the fact that I didn't watch that game. Uh, I've seen them play, and I was like, I remember enough to be able to say this and not sound like a total idiot. Only a partial one. So uh, before that, they had a 1-0 loss to Arsenal, and before that was a 5-0 win over Leipzig. Uh, they're weird. United is so weird right now. And you would even say they've got some turmoil going. I think a lot of supporters are not super happy with Ole right now. But yeah, it's a strange time to play United. I feel like one of the stronger performances recently was when they beat PSG in Champions League, and
Yeah.
on that one they were running like three in the back with wing backs, which is interesting. That United fan at work was like, why are we not doing that? I don't understand. It's like we played great that game. And then he comes in bashing Pogba because Pogba, this guy's super frustrated, and he has to encapsulate a lot of United supporters. So strange times for United right now. I'll rattle off some possible starters, and you may have some additions or some alterations. But De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka on the right, Lindelof and Maguire in the middle, Luke Shaw on the left, unless Alex Tejas is healthy.
I think it'll be Shaw. I hope it's Shaw.
Yeah, me too. I super do hope it's. Yeah, I think it's just he's a little borderline. I'm not sure. But anyway, you could see McTominay or Matic in the middle, Fred and Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, and then uh, you could also see Greenwood, Rashford, Martial, some combination of them. I feel like United is strongest when they're running all three of those guys across the front.
I think it's going to be a 4-3-3 for them with Fred, Pogba, if fit, and Bruno. And with those three, with Greenwood, Martial, and Rashford, I
Fred
think
is such a
that's
good player,
countered.
but I feel like usually if they don't have Matic and McTominay in for like that physicality aspect,
Yeah.
I feel like they lose it. It's just
I,
so
it will
weird to
be.
predict.
See, that's a question for Ole because with our midfield of Allen and Doucouré, we're physical now, and so
Yeah,
he has to make. I agree, he has to make the decision. But Mata is about 32-year-old. McTominay, I think,
he's
is probably
old.
the better choice.
Mm-hmm.
But if he goes with McTominay, I think he has to go 4-2-3-1, and I just don't think 4-2-3-1 is an effective formation anymore.
I agree. Well, not for them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
certainly not for them. Yeah.
I mean, their stronger games they played was when they run those three young folks across the middle. They're poised, they're exciting. Um, I hate playing against Martial. He always loves playing us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate
It'll
playing
be
him.
interesting. Yeah, I'm very interested to see the team lineup because I think Ole is playing for his job, which is why I can see Man United winning 4-0 and then losing to West Brom next week, and then he gets sacked. But I, I mean, I think the players may quit on him too because they certainly. I mean, losing to Istanbul. I mean, that's
Yeah,
their first win in the Champions League. The Europa League or Champions League? I can't.
that's the first. The first.
It was Champions League. It was Champions League.
Yeah,
It was
it
yesterday.
was
Yeah.
their first
Sorry. Crazy
Champions League
time.
because Skirtle was
Yeah.
playing
It was
for
their
them.
first win in Champions League. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just you don't expect. Yeah. Just I'm sure Alex Ferguson had to turn it off because it's their shadow of who they were 10 years ago or so, or 8 years ago when you left. 7 years ago, I guess now.
even
Time
though I
flies.
got to be honest, I do get the impression that Fergie has a permanent Bluetooth implant in Ole's ear telling him everything to do. Like,
Oh,
okay, Ole, you got to use the bathroom. Let's go to the bathroom now. You
won't
know,
that be something? A little bit of a lag that would explain a lot, why his decision making is not always quite spot on. But I think that lineup, yeah, I think they go with the four two
some
three one or
form
four
of
three
those.
three.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think they go with three at the back.
yeah. I
But
don't think so either. I think you're going to see Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire,
yeah,
and Shaw. I think
I think
those
they
are.
play for the counter to expose or probably what we're going to be playing a high line at home. I think
Mm.
because we're at Goodison. So That I think you're pretty correct with that starting 11.
And can we agree that the biggest threat is Fernandez, Bruno Fernandez with a penalty? That is our biggest.
Yep, that is the biggest threat. Yeah, the Pickford sending off probably.
Oh yeah, just
yeah. No, I agree. Even though I do think that we don't give up a penalty this week. I'm sure Ancelotti will blow a gasket if we do.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's good to be aggressive, but you got to pair that with some sense of having some professional restraint.
Exactly. Try to keep a clean sheet.
I mean, we joke about United getting penalties all the time. They do have Fernandez is a quality distributor, and Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood are very dangerous forwards. They really are.
But I think this match comes down to the midfield. I'd
love to see the matchup, what they pair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll see it. We'll see what Carlo opts to. I can see him packing the midfield, but yeah, we can get on with it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What do you think our lineup's gonna be?
Huh. Well, I wish it was Olsen, but it'll be Pickford. Carlo is a man of his word.
Yeah,
surely. So Pickford, then Coleman, Keane, Mina, Dean, Doucouré, Allen, James, Calvert-Lewin, and then leaving the one that's the most uncertain. There are two left. Oh yeah, I guess there are two left. The two most uncertain ones.
Yes.
Sigurdsson.
Those are the ones that give me trouble. Yeah.
Sigurdsson. I think Sigurdsson will see him, and I think we'll see Iwobi.
That's exact words I have written down, man.
And it's not what I want. It's not what I want. That's what I think will happen. So.
That's what I think will happen, and I still think that lineup is a squad capable of getting a win.
Oh,
I do.
I think so too.
It's not 100%. Straight doom and gloom. It's not exactly what I want. But yeah, I would like to see a forward that's more. Iwobi, I want to see Iwobi in a role more like what James does. Let's have him be the 10 on the wing. The idea of him having the pressure of being a Richarlison type forward.
Yeah.
We need a player more like Richie. Yeah.
He's a progressive passer. He's not a direct threat. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was just reading an Athletic article today about that.
Yeah.
There's just no comparison there if that's what you're looking for. Because Gordon is, if you're trying to replace Richie, Gordon is the best substitute for that. But
I'm so with you.
I don't think you can replace Richie. I just don't.
I think you just do your best.
You do your best, you compensate, and then you hope with the added quality we have now that James scores a worldie, Calvert-Lewin gets a couple poachers, Mm-hmm. De Gea has a mistake. I think a De Gea mistake is as likely as a Bruno Fernandes penalty, to be honest.
Yeah. I totally with you on that.
I think with their mentality and their recent run of results, you go after them the first 15 minutes. I think you get that goal in the first 15 minutes. I honestly don't think if they go to the halftime breakdown, I don't think Ole has. I think that squad, that spirit has been lost, and I think the writing is on the wall, and it's up to us to make it happen.
I do get kind of a vibe of desperation from Ole lately in the changes he's making with lineup and with formation. I do get that vibe. However, some of that could be squad rotation, but that's me trying to
They try to have the match rescheduled. But I mean, it's the same thing with Arsenal going their Europa League campaign where they go to like Kazakhstan or Eastern Europe, and then they play on the Sunday. It's the same thing. They don't get rescheduled. So that's I think there's Ole trying to play games, take the distraction off of the squad.
Yeah. So, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think the score is going to be?
Well, I don't think we keep a clean sheet as much as I want to say a number starting with 0. I think they get 1 goal. I don't think it's a Fernandes penalty. I don't. I think it's a Rashford goal. I think Rashford gets a goal against us. But I think we get 3. I think we get 2 or 3. I really do.
All right.
I think with Calvert-Lewin and James, if James is, I should preface that. James being fully fit, please let his testicle, whatever special treatment they gave him, because if James is fully fit, I fully expect him to put 3 to 5 balls in, which are goal scoring chances. And Dom, I expect him to score 1 to 2 of them minimum. So I think that gives us that X factor that we haven't had in a long, long time. And that's why I have some hope, and it's at home. So we have to make them walk from the car park. I love that. When I watched last year, they're walking from the car park. I just think that's the ultimate, and then they have to hear the siren. No, I just love that part of it too. So yeah, welcome to Goodison.
So Sachin, can I just tell you, making Toffee Blues history, the first person on the channel, I'm pretty certain, to have prayed for James's balls. That's you said that you were like
2020.
Oh, and I was just like
2020.
Yes!
I want the 3 points. The table's crowded at the top half of the table is very crowded. And I'd love to see Man United fire their manager. I love the fume and the fallout.
Oh yeah, that's more. United fume is a mighty fume.
Yeah,
it is. They do not hold back.
Yeah, Man United, Liverpool losing, always solid. So.
Well, I am less optimistic. I don't think it's going to be a loss, but I'm calling a boring 1-1 draw. Super boring. I want to see some more chances. Going out in that last match, seemingly to smother rather than to create chances in the first half.
Yeah.
I feel like it was bad mojo. And I feel like when you go out there seemingly playing for a tie, it's just not the way. It doesn't feel like the way we've been playing this season.
I completely agree. But I think that all changes with Dean and Coleman. I hope and
James coming back. Hopefully so.
I think those 3 players coming back into the side is the boost we need. Because Tifo football put out great I can't speak, a long session, but they had a video. I remember Ancelotti's Everton, and it was in possession. It's contingent on those fullbacks getting forward, and then the inside play of Richarlison and whatnot. So it's a huge boost, I think. And Coleman has been immense this year defensively. Whoever's playing on the left is probably going to be Martial, I imagine. I think Coleman will have him in his pocket because Coleman has looked really boss this year. So that helps. Yeah. Dean's always he's always prone to making one instance where the man on his back gets lost. But recovery tackles are pretty good. His quality is there. So that's where my confidence comes from. More so than just relying on James. A little bit more method than just man.
No, I'm definitely with you. So I'm going conservative with the 1-1 draw. Do I know who scores? You know what? It's Yerry Mina's time to score. I want Yerry Mina to score, and I want him to go to the corner and do that dance, and I'd prefer it not be the Macarena, okay? The last time, it was interesting, but people were mocking it because they were like, oh, they're not organized. But it was something that they had talked about. No, Yerry Mina, go in the corner and do that crazy thing where you throw your hands all over the place, and it's so good, and it's the best dancing I've ever seen in my life.
I hope Yerry scores too. I love the big man getting a header. I love it. It's a center back scoring a goal off a header. I mean, that's what I dream about every time I go for a quarter. So
it's just been too long. I haven't seen Yerry Mina dance enough lately. Just saying, it needs to happen. So, Yerry Mina,
I'm down
make it
with
happen.
That.
And I am Martial. I think Martial will score for them. He just gets up for us for some reason. It's like he likes playing us. Anyway, all right. So 2 or 3 to 1 from Sachin. He's Mr. Positivity right now, that's good. Normally I am the more positive. So
I'm not positive. Normally I am anything but I've watched so much bad Everton that I'm gonna be positive now with
nice.
I'm not. Oh, I need it.
So a little role reversal here then.
Yeah,
we're down with that.
Yeah. Hopefully after this start, after they put our hopes up so high on this pedestal, like maybe top 4 is on.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want those to be dashed.
Oh no, I'm still got those. But I'm wondering, like, if I feel like the healing salve of getting any points is heading in the right direction after the past 2 matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, you know, I don't like. I
Get
mean,
on a point streak. Completely
yeah.
agree.
So
It's a long season, 38 matches.
it is. It's that marathon. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So that's the end of the show. Holy cow, we made it. Speaking of marathon, hey,
Pleasure to be on once again. Thanks,
yeah.
Gerry.
Thank you for coming on, Sachin. Sachin, do you have anything to plug other than the fact that you're on Falcon Blues? Falcon Blues are cool, by the way. Laid back, fun guys.
Can we swear on this show? I don't know. The
Say
Falcon
a,
Blues give me fear. All right, well, I always sign off for Falcon Blues. I ought to do it now. Up the fucking Toffees, Colin Chong. That's what I end with. So
that works. So everybody out there, check out Falcon Blues. You can find Sachin on there. Don't forget to check out his Twitter. His Twitter handle should be listed down there in that region. I don't know which side he's going to be on, but one of those down there. His Twitter handle will be there, and check out his Everton and Me story is on there. That's on the Toffee Blues channel, so you can check out that. So segue. You can also just subscribe to the Toffee Blues because we're nearing 7,000 subs, which is nuts because it used to just be me and Edward in a trailer out back, sitting there recording our little videos without any border, and I had to edit it, and it was crazy. And all of a sudden, holy cow, we got all these contributors, and we got fancy schmancy guests coming on, and it's just really cool.
I don't know about that, but
come on. No, really, it's really cool, and I just want to say the growth has been amazing. There's been some really cool contributors for Toffee Blues, and I'm psyched to be a part of it. As always, I'm always honored. So just all the people out there, thank you. If you've already subscribed, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. You can the main thing is that you can find our videos quicker, is what I would say, if you subscribe. So if you find that kind of thing cool, or if you're like, you know what, I want to throw them a bone because Gerry is not the most annoying person I've seen. And figure out a compliment.
And he likes the same soccer team as
me. Yes, there we go.
More importantly,
his hair is grayer than mine. Let's say that. So it's so anyway. Subscribe to the Toffee Blues, please, if you haven't already. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're listening, subscribe to our podcast. Check out the Toffee Blues on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and please check out the Toffee Blues website. There's all sorts of Everton content, and a lot of the cool folks that show up on this channel, you can see their writings as well. All things Everton is what you're getting there. So last plug, I have to do it because I'm really awful at marketing my book. All right, but yeah, I wrote this book. We came up with the idea for it on a Toffee Blues recording one Christmas, and I'm the idiot that actually made it happen with my friend Matt Taylor, who incidentally is a Liverpool supporter. So that was interesting. Yeah, I know.
That's amazing, though.
I had to sit there and listen to him going through it. But yeah, it's cool. It's about a moose who likes to run and gets told, hey, you can't really be one of Santa's main flight school people because you're not a reindeer. You're a moose. So he ends up just kind of defying the odds and persevering and being who he wants to be, and all of a sudden people start appreciating him. It's crazy. It's like an anti-Rudolph story. So Randolph the Christmas Moose, if you're like, hey, I am into that kind of thing, there it is. All right. So in the meantime, I'll keep that there. That's where I keep it, right there. In the meantime, that's it. Sachin, thanks so much.
Thank you. A pleasure.
All right. This is really fun. You got to come on again. All right. And
yes.
First
of many. I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Always cool to meet another Everton supporter, especially one that's fun to talk to. Very cool. Appreciate it. Everybody else out there, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And let's get a win on Saturday, people. I mean, really, can you will it to happen? Let's not put it in Everton's hands. It'll be in our hands. Let's will it.
Keep the 12:30 kickoff vibes going. Beat West Brom, beat Chelsea. Let's add United to the list.
You're one of the only people that's totally down with that early kickoff, by the way.
I think I might be.
But that's cool. It's unique. It works. All right. So 3 points on Saturday. Come on, you Blues. Let's do
Yeah.
this. And bye.